everyone, and welcome back to the channel for another video. So today I'm going to be doing one that has actually been requested, which is to do the interior of the confectionery shop we got in the premium shop a few weeks ago with this new update. So I haven't actually found a kind of like build location really for this shop yet. I am going to be making a theme park, I think, in my jungle, so it will be part of that, as obviously it works really well in a theme park setup. But I wanted to do the interior of this as, number one, it was requested, so thank you so much for requesting it, but also I just felt like it was such a fun idea to make like a really cool Disney park themed store inside here. So it is got the element of the confectionery side of things, as you'll see, and then there is one room in here that is more like a kind of just Disney park gift shop or something like that. I really loved making it and I hope you guys enjoy, so let's get started. So as we head into the build, I go into the first main room, and first off I wanted to figure out the doors, because obviously I wanted the doors in here to be different. I actually ended up going with the Beauty and the Beast doors, and then I started figuring out what floors and wallpapers I wanted to use. Now in here I obviously wanted to keep it looking quite kind of communal, if that makes sense. I wanted it to feel like somewhere that is like a store where people would be walking in and out, so obviously I didn't want to use anything that was like carpet or anything like that. I thought going with like a marble tile floor would probably be the best bet, and I actually chose the cloud print wallpaper. I think this is a Toy Story wallpaper, as I just felt like it was really cute and it just fit really well with the vibe in here, and I wasn't sure which wallpaper to use, but I actually am really happy I went with this one. And then I started placing out some of the items I knew I was going to be using in here. So my main plan in this first room was to have kind of like a counter section when you first walk in, and this is going to be where you get a lot of the kind of like confectionaries that you grab and go. So say for example you walk into a Disney park store and you just want to grab a quick snack or a quick drink. That was the theme in here. I was going to use the Monsters Inc. vending machines, but they were so big and bulky in here that I just scrapped that idea. So that is something you could use if you feel like you can make it work. If you can make it work, props to you, because I just couldn't. I just couldn't get them to work in here. They were just way too bulky, but they would be a really good option. But in here I just wanted it to be kind of like a little snack area where you go in and you grab something. So that was kind of the plan, and I start placing out the counters and everything around the room. Now obviously, as the focus in this room was obviously just like sweets and treats, I did include 2 ice cream stands, as these would just be really cute for people to pop in and grab a quick ice cream. These will also be going probably outside the store as well, so it will kind of all tie together. And I also included a popcorn machine and some of the new craftable popcorn buckets on the counter, as well as a little stand, which is actually one of the Easter craftable stands. So if you don't recognize it, it is from the Easter event. You can craft these using the eggs, and this I did pop some treat buckets on. I do go in later and change this out, but for now that is how I kind of did the layout. And then I started adding all the different variants of the craftable popcorn buckets onto the counter as a really nice display on here, as they're just so gorgeous and I really loved using them in here. Now once I'd finished the majority of that first room, I then went into the second room, which is the one to the left, which I decided was going to be the main confectionery area. Now this one is going to be kind of like a mini cafe of sorts, or a place where you can kind of go up to the bakery counter and pick out a load of confectionery. So in here I wanted to do a combination of some seating as well as a kind of large sales area. So I kind of started to figure out where I wanted to put the tables. I did use the diner tables and seats from the Wanderer bundle, which is from the premium shop, so if you don't have those I do apologise, but you could definitely change that out for some other couches or seats that we have in the base game, but these just work so perfectly in here. They really remind me of something you'd see in a Disney park. So I did pop a couple of those in each corner to create these like larger tables by combining two tables together, which I really like the look of. And then I started figuring out how I was going to make the counters at the front of the room. Now, something I really loved using along the walls throughout this whole build are these Art Deco posters. Now, these are from a combination of the Premium Shop and Star Pass, mainly the Premium Shop. So if you don't have these, you could definitely change them out for some other paintings we have in the game. We've got so many graphic pieces that you could use. For example, we got some recently in the Monsters Inc. update that would work amazingly in here. So if you don't have those, do not fret. I just personally love using them in here. They just really remind me of movie posters you would see throughout Disney parks, and I just wanted to use those. So I started placing them on the walls and figuring out how many I had and how I could display them. And I also used the new maps that we got on the back wall. I absolutely love how these maps look, and I'm really enjoying using them in my sort of park theme builds. So I did use those. If you don't have those yet, they are from the quests that we got with the recent event. So make sure you are crafting those popcorn buckets and giving everyone those cupcakes to get hold of those. But they are a really nice kind of trio of items to use, and they really fit the vibe in here. And once I had gone in and placed in the counters and the main kind of focal points of the room, as you can see, I made a lot of sweet treats. Obviously, as this is a confectionery store, I went for the sweet treats rather than kind of main meals and stuff like that. I kind of mainly focused on the Disney themed ones, so the ones that really fit with being in a theme park, and also obviously were like Mickey and Friends themed. I did pop a load of those in. I also did some from the new Eternity Isle meals, like the macarons and things like that, as they obviously seem like something you'd probably pick up and buy at Disney. But I displayed these all along the counter in kind of like a paired display to make it look like you'd obviously grab one and then they'd restock it and things like that. And I really love how this turned out. I did play around with it for a while to make sure I could fit in as much as I could, as I kind of overestimated how many I would need, so I had a lot. So I also added some obviously to the tables so that the people who are dining there would obviously have grabbed something. And I also included some of the new cupcakes from the event because these obviously just fit perfectly in a Disney park. So I did display those all around, and I actually do go back and display these in the first room, which I will show you at some point. So as you can see here, I do go in and add some candy and some candy floss to the back of the counters, and I swap the candy buckets off of this stand and add in the cupcakes. I just feel like it looks so cute in here, and it also meant I could display the candy buckets next to the popcorn stand and the kind of treat stall around, just to feel like it was a bit more cluttered in here and had a lot more going on. And then we moved on to the right side room, which is going to be our Disney store side of things. So if you've been to a Disney park, you'll know a lot of the stores there kind of have everything in them, and you kind of go from room to room and it just is never ending, and there's just different rooms of different things. You walk in and there's a room of food, there's a room of plushies, there's a room of clothes. It is kind of never ending. So that was the feel I wanted to go for in this whole build. So in this back room I really wanted to make it a kind of natural display of tourist kind of things to grab and go, things like souvenirs and stuff like that, but also have the elements of clothes and stuff like that. So I did play around with the counters for a very long time to figure out the spacing in here, as I obviously wanted it to be functional and also to be able to fit in as many of the items as I could, as I'd kind of gone and bought a huge collection of items I knew would work well for this, but displaying them all ended up being more of a challenge than you'd probably assume. So I do go in and figure that out, and then I start placing some of the items on the counters to get a good feel of the spacing of everything in here. Once again in here I went for the posters on the wall with the matching windows. Obviously I do use these a lot throughout, as I wanted it to feel like this is all one shop and to kind of keep themes going throughout the whole build. Same with the floor and the wallpaper that I did continue on from the main room. And as you can see, I've started putting out a lot of the souvenirs, things like that. I did do this back display section, and then I remembered that Scramble Coin existed, so I knew I'd bought a lot of Scramble Coin figures to put in this shop. So I did have to move things around once again to fit all those in, as there is so many Scramble Coin figures that I didn't even know I had. So I do fit as many of those as I possibly can onto this back display section, and then start filling out the counters at the front with some of the items that I picked up that I thought would work well to go on sale in the store. Now, finally, we're going on to the back room, which is going to be a pretty boring room, but it's going to be a stock room. Now, in here, as it is behind the main counter in the first room, I knew it wouldn't be a room that's easily accessible, so it made no sense to be kind of another room in the shop. So for now, I decided to make it a stock room. Now, this obviously doesn't sound like the most exciting thing in the world, but I actually really love making rooms like this because it makes the build feel real. It makes it feel like it is a realistic build. So say, for example, in other builds I've done, like I did the tavern build, I did dedicate one of the rooms in there to be like a stock room or kind of a storage room, which I really actually like doing because it just, as I said, makes it feel more realistic, and is something that I don't really see very often or get to do very often. So I did create that in here. Now as you can see, I placed out a load of furniture and I went for just a really simple kind of darker tone of floor and wallpaper in here, just so it felt a little bit less fancy and feels a little bit more like a hidden room in the back that guests wouldn't see. And with all the items in here, I went in and started rearranging everything. Now in here I wanted to obviously have a lot of crates and barrels and things like that full of stock, but I also wanted to display some of the stock on the tables at the back as well, to make it feel like people would go in and just grab the stock and then restock the shelves, because Disney stores are pretty busy, so I felt like it was realistic for people to go in and do that. As well as that in here, I wanted to include some safes to obviously just fit with the theme of it being a back room. And I also wanted to include an ice cream stand kind of like tucked away in the corner to make it seem like it's a damaged one, or for example, it may be the winter months and this is the one that they use to go outside the shop or something like that. Sounds so silly when I'm saying it in my head, but I always just like to think of like a plot line behind my builds or like a theme. So that was my thought behind that. Basically, it may seem very random, but that was the thought behind it and I went with it. So this is the final build. As you can see, we're starting off in the main room, which is obviously our first entrance room where you can grab some snacks and some treats pretty quickly. I've made some mannequins all throughout the build to be behind the counters, and they're all wearing matching Disney outfits and then some slightly different hair and headbands. But in here they are serving the popcorn buckets as well as some ice cream on the side. We've got the stand with the cupcakes on it as well as the popcorn machine. I included memory frames throughout just to make it feel very Disney in here and have a lot of movie references. And then behind the counter we obviously have some balloons and just some really gorgeous cash registers that we got with Daisy, as well as lots of sweet treats just dotted about, and these two wonderful mannequins are serving everything to the customers. Moving on to the second room on the left, which is obviously our main confectionery kind of dining space. I absolutely love how this room turned out. I think it actually is my favourite. I love the seating tables in the back left and right corner with lots of snacks on. I think they just look really, really cozy and also very Disney themed. We've got the smaller tables at the side with the Art Deco posters on the wall, which just remind me so much of a Disney theme. I've obviously included balloons throughout the whole build to tie it all together and obviously fit the theme of it being a Disney park. And then on the main counter at the front, we obviously have loads of sweet treats of all different types, and we again have two mannequins dressed in the same matching outfits but with slightly different hair and headbands that are serving the food out today to all the customers. At this counter it just looks amazing and it definitely looks like something you'd see when you go up and purchase something at a Disney park. And then on the back wall we also have the maps and some more memory frames just to show off everything that's Disney themed in here. In the third room, this is our kind of like main storeroom. This room is probably my second favourite, to be honest. I love how it looks in here. I think it worked well with how I designed the counters, and I'm glad there's enough space in here to easily get around. We've got someone in a really cute Minnie Mouse outfit shopping in here, and on the counters we have a variety of the different base game kind of toys and things like that, as well as the craftable popcorn buckets that people can come in and purchase. It just really feels like a Disney store in here. I included some clothing rails on the back wall to feel like where you'd grab clothes, lots of plushies, lots of bright toys, and then obviously on the main wall we have the plushie shelves, and then we have all of the Scramble Coin figures out there to purchase. As we head into the final room, this is obviously just the back stock room. I just think this room works really, really well, and I kind of like having it in here as just like a hidden little room at the back. We obviously have lots of stock out on the tables for people to grab and use to restock the main shop. We've got some maps in here just to keep it very Disney themed, as well as the broken down ice cream stand in the corner covered by lots of crates. I also included the new stacked chairs that we get in Scrooge's. These are perfect in a stock room like this, and obviously some safes, and just again lots more barrels and crates that all the stock is in, but I wanted to keep the room very light and bright despite that. So here are some shots of the final build. There's obviously a couple of shots from each room. So starting off with the main room, I really love how it looks in here. I think it's a really nice entrance room, and it kind of gets you introduced to the theme in here, and definitely feels like somewhere you would just grab and go with something rather than going throughout the whole store. We then have the confectionery room, which is our main kind of dining space. I love the look of the counters in here and the amount of sweet treats that are in here. It took me a long time to cook all of these, but it definitely was worth it in the end. We then move on to the kind of like souvenir room. In here it just feels very bright, there's so much going on and feels like somewhere you would definitely come and actually shop for something. Then finally, last but not least, we obviously have the stock room, the least exciting room of all, but one that I felt like was just a really nice touch in this building to make it seem like a realistic build and have kind of all the stock hidden in the back for the staff to grab and go with, and it just tied everything together in the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed and you like the interior of this confectionery house. I actually really enjoyed doing this build. I wasn't too sure, but once I came up with a plan of kind of how I wanted to arrange each room, I really enjoyed doing it. I feel like it's very bright, very busy in here, and it just fits that kind of feel that you would get in a Disney park of everything being very bright and very busy realistically. Let me know down below what you guys think of this build and if you like it, and if there are any other interior or exterior builds you want to see on the channel, please do let me know down below. I'm always happy to listen to your suggestions, and I've got a list going of all the ones that are coming up on the channel, so if you want to add to that, please do let me know down below. I very much appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for all the support on the channel. We are almost at 1.5k subscribers, which is crazy. So if you are not yet subscribed, please do subscribe down below. It means so much to me. And then you can watch the videos and also hang out in live streams if you are about. Thank you so much for watching and for all your support, and I hope you have a lovely week. See you in the next one. Bye.